From homeless to quarterback, thanks to his football coach. Raheem Murphy was having a rough time when he met Sam Greener, his football coach. Raheem was a very talented quarterback, but he was homeless. As a homeless person, he didn't have the same opportunities as other kids. Sam Greener saw the teen's potential and decided to give him a second chance at life. This is their story. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. Sam Greener was working at Harding University High School as a health and physical instructor when he met Raheem Murphy. Sam worked hard every day to become a football coach, as it was his primary goal at that time. Sooner or later, life was going to give him the chance to fulfill his dream. Married to Connie and father of 2 beautiful girls, Sam had a loving family who stood by his side at all times. He raised his daughters Charlie, Bells, and Journey with love and encouraged them to play sports. Sam was full of love, and the best was yet to come. Sam and his wife Connie were both Christians as they placed their lives and hearts in God's hands. Their faith was so strong that they believed that everything was possible if it was in God's will. As devoted Christians, the family went to church every week and prayed at home. The family was very close, so it was hard to believe that they would take in a stranger. However, they opened their hearts to a homeless teen. When Sam started working as a football coach at Harding University High School, he faced a big challenge ahead. The team hadn't had a single victory in 20 years. It was quite frustrating, but he managed to cheer everybody up.
I knew it was a task that was impossible. How would that kid want to come play? They get laughed at. Like kids literally in that school, oh, you play football, ha ha ha. Like it was like a joke.
No matter how bad the situation was, Sam was committed to the team. He wanted to change their reality.
It takes faith to walk out of a stand and sign up on a sheet of paper like I'm gonna play football for you. And if you have strong enough faith, we were gonna move mountains, and that's exactly what we did.
When Raheem showed up at Sam's class, he impressed his coach. First time I met Raheem, he was a freshman, the smallest kid I probably saw in my life. I mean, he probably weighed 90 pounds. Sam was shocked to see the kid's condition.
Some of these kids, they literally like, what are we gonna eat tonight? Where am I gonna sleep tonight? And it was a brutal situation for everybody, and Raheem was one of them.
Raheem was always late for his first period, which was Sam's class. Sam remembered that
every day he would show up to school late. He had someone driving him to school every day. He couldn't get to school. There wasn't a bus for him.
Sam knew that his student always turned up late, but he didn't know the reason why.
I didn't know that he was homeless.
Sam remembers that Raheem was always asking his coach to drop him off, but it was never the same place.
I started noticing when I was taking him home, there was no home. It was different every time.
Why was a teenager going to many places? Sam became suspicious, and he eventually asked his student where his home was, but Raheem never told him the truth. After some time, Raheem finally decided to tell his coach the truth. He was homeless.
Eventually, he just opened up to me, and he was like, I have to stay with my sister from place to place. And I didn't know what to do at times, so I go into my office and I start thinking, I'm like, God, something's tugging at my heart.
But he didn't have a permanent home nor parents. This difficult situation was the main reason why he didn't make it to school on time.
And it made me see that he didn't have a lot of stability. Obviously, it was difficult because he wasn't able to play the year before because of his grades.
Raheem had been through difficult times when he was a child. His mom died when he was only 5 years old. He managed to stay strong despite the circumstances. He only had his brothers and sisters who helped him get through. Being the youngest son in the family was even harder for Raheem as he needed attention and care. No matter how hard it was, he never gave up. Even though he was always late for class, he was giving his best. Raheem was a brilliant kid, but it wasn't enough. His current situation wasn't helping at all, and he started failing his exams. His GPA score was so low that he wasn't eligible to be admitted to the football team. Once Raheem started to play football, every single person on the field realized how talented he was.
The athletic director comes to me and says, oh yeah, by the way, Raheem Murphy and some other guys are not eligible. I was like, Raheem's not eligible? I was blown away because he's so smart.
However smart and talented he proved to be, his low grades were an impediment. Raheem was determined to excel at football as he was passionate about it. Hearing the sad news that he couldn't join the team broke his heart. Although he didn't show any emotion, he was dying on the inside.
When he told me that, I didn't show any emotions, but once I got home, I just cried for 2 days straight.
Brahim had been through so much at such a young age. Now that he found his true passion, he had to step aside. Coach Sam was monitoring Brahim very closely and knew about the student's situation. He couldn't ignore the fact that Brahim was lonely, tired, and not eating well, so he told his wife Connie about him.
So I asked my wife, I said, we got to give this guy a place to stay. He's a great kid.
My husband mentioned there was this kid that was in his class and he didn't have any food. He was coming to practice hungry. He didn't have a family. He didn't have certain things.
They both decided to invite him for dinner. It's not normal to invite a student to have dinner, but Sam wanted to help the kid, and so did Connie as soon as she learned about Brahim's situation. It had been a long time since he had had a hot and tasty meal served at a table. Connie and Sam quickly agreed to have Brahim over for dinner.
One day I just said to him, I said, hey man, how about you just come have dinner? You wanna come have dinner at the house? He's like, yeah, I'll come have dinner. It was just funny to see him like, oh my God, he never ate so much in his life.
Maybe it was Brahim's first big meal ever because he was desperate about it. Sam noticed that Connie and Brahim had an immediate connection as they opened up to each other and talked about lots of things during dinner.
So he stayed with us. We had dinner a couple times with him and I fell in love.
If you knew Connie, you'd understand why she decided to invite Brahim without hesitating. She had worked for many years as a sales assistant in a jewelry shop. Hard work pays off, they say. After a long time, she was promoted to manager at Pandora. Nowadays, Connie is the current manager of the cosmetics brand Origins while she studies at university and takes care of the house and the kids. Even though she has many responsibilities, there's nothing more important than her family. Inviting Brahim for dinner turned into an invitation to live with the Greeners because the kids stayed with them. That memorable dinner became the first day of Brahim's new life.
He's like, is it okay if I just stay here with you guys for a little bit? I said, Brahim, you can stay here as long as you want. And 2 years later.
Eventually, he became part of the family. Brahim immediately felt part of the family because Sam and Connie had done lots of things to make him feel that way. For example,
when I first moved in with Coach Garner, it was a little awkward, but now I feel a part of the family. I do chores now. I help a lot with the girls. I babysit sometimes and play Barbies with them a lot.
Brahim's life changed completely. Having a home to sleep well at night and a meal served every day gave him the strength he needed to excel at school. He felt so much love and care from the Greeners that he found a way to have good marks. Brahim went from failing all of his classes to getting a 4.0 GPA. Now that his grades were more than fine, he could finally join the football team. Now that he had the affection of a family, he could finally start dreaming again of becoming a football player. Sam was coaching at Harding University High School, the team which Brahim joined. Even though they were like father and son, the kid didn't get any benefits out of it. The funniest part was that Brahim decided to start playing in the position he hated most. Sam understands that Brahim made a sacrifice when he decided to play defensive back, as it was what the team needed. Brahim wanted to play quarterback, but he decided to do the best for the team and leave his wishes behind. Back in 2000, Sam shared his testimony at church. He told everyone about one of the best achievements of Brahim and the football team.
And this past season, I'll never forget, we're playing against West Meck High School, who's ranked in the top Sweet 16, and they said, we can't go to the playoffs. And this guy...
It was in the last 40 seconds of the game that Brahim threw a winning touchdown pass.
We had less than 40 seconds left, and this guy marches down the field, and I don't say a word, and he throws a touchdown pass, and we win the game. And we get to go to the first playoffs we've ever been to in a long time at Harding.
Thanks to his initiative, the team finally got to the playoffs after 60 years. It was a memorable time for Harding. Brahim was standing next to Sam the day he gave his testimony in church. The kid tried not to cry, but it was impossible to hold back tears of happiness. Brahim was proud of what he had achieved so far and happy to have a great father like Sam.
He's more than you can imagine. You think that I'm doing something for him. He's done more in my life than I've done for him. He's a very special human being, and he's a great leader of our team.
Sam said after sharing the story. Certainly, these words can fill everyone with emotion. Both his biological and adoptive families were watching the game that day. Not only Connie, Sam, and the girls were there supporting Brahim, but his biological father was there too. After all, he had the company of his whole family. As seen in the picture, Brahim's biological father Dino is posing for a photo with the Greeners, Brahim and Danielle, his half-sister. Brahim's mother was gone, but his father wasn't. but he was just not ready to take care of Raheem the way he deserved.
My dad loves me and everything, but we were just going through problems.
Raheem was only 5 years old when his mother died of a brain aneurysm. Little Raheem and his sister Dominique were left alone with their dad Dino, but he wasn't around. After such a terrible situation, Dino remarried and had a girl, Danielle. Raheem's half-sister was born with cerebral palsy, so she had to be taken care of at all times. Besides, Dino and his new wife lived with Danielle in a small house, and there was no room for Raheem and Dominique. Apart from that, it was quite hard to live with them, Raheem admits. The day finally came for Raheem when he graduated from high school in 2018. He passed all his subjects. Sam and Connie, his adoptive parents, were there to celebrate with him. It was something worth celebrating, as he achieved almost a 4.0 GPA. The kid who seemed to be lost in life with no progressing opportunities made it to the end with flying colors. Sam and Connie believed in him from the very beginning, and they didn't let Raheem give up on his dreams. The moment Raheem became part of the family, he became a big brother. He found 2 beautiful girls who became his adopted sisters. Even though Carly and Journey are way younger than Raheem, the age gap didn't step between them because they were very close to each other. Raheem learned to be a big brother while playing with his sisters and babysitting them. He used to let them do the makeup without any complaints. At night, he read to them before bed. Sam and Connie described Raheem as their bonus kid, as he was a perfect match with the family. After graduation from school, Raheem applied to join the U.S. Military Academy Preparatory School. Of course, such a talented and smart boy was instantly admitted. His adoptive parents Sam and Connie were so happy about it that they even posted it on Instagram. After hard work and sacrifice, Raheem got what he wanted. Sam was proud to see Raheem growing up and becoming a strong and determined man. He deserves everything. Now that Raheem was working at the military academy, he didn't have the opportunity to share moments with his loving family. The Greeners missed him a lot, but they knew that Raheem was doing what he wanted most. At the same time, the youngest sister Charlie started kindergarten, so the whole family was a little bit busy with that. However, Sam still missed his little boy who would be next to him while driving to school every day. It was a mix of emotions for Sam. The fact that Raheem didn't live in the house anymore certainly didn't mean that he was gone forever. In fact, Raheem spent his holidays and each family's birthdays at home. Sam, Connie, and the 2 girls were his true family. It was all he ever wanted, and he finally had it. Depending on the type of occasion, Raheem finds a way to match clothes with his family. For example, the family wore red and black for Christmas, so Raheem wore a black and red plaid shirt. He was blessed that he found his forever family. Good things come to those who work hard. Raheem worked very hard for his dreams to come true, and the day finally came. He graduated from the West Point Academy to Army West Point football just in a year. His family was proud of what he had achieved. Sam always shares family moments on Instagram, and he always writes something inspiring or positive. The day finally came when Raheem graduated. Coach Sam expressed how proud he was of his son and described Raheem as a resilient warrior. Proud papa. Raheem went from having nothing at all to having everything he dreamt of. Being raised in a loving home and having all the support he needed at the time were key to success in life. Love and care were the basis for Raheem to thrive. Sam and Connie have a lovely relationship. Raheem grew up seeing them loving each other and their kids. Sam always tells Connie how much he loves her and how important she is to him. The pandemic has locked the family inside, but Coach Sam always finds a way to stay active. During the lockdown, Sam started doing carpentry in his own garage. He built a hanging storage for his wife to have everything handy. After the lockdown, the family took a little trip. They enjoyed more family time together as they went to the cinema and had some fun together. Coach Sam shares every happy moment of his life. Recently, he shared that Connie was pregnant. The whole family is very excited to have a new member, and they can't wait to have him with them. It's a blessing. Elijah Rock Greener is the next warrior in the Greener family. The girls now become the big sisters, and Raheem would have a little brother to teach football. A new adventure awaits the family, and we can't wait to see the little boy. Army West Point football is Raheem's current home. He has never stopped working hard to be the best on the field. Nowadays, he has become a strong man. He posts pictures on his social media of him on the field. Raheem has become a man. He's no longer the little boy who didn't have a safe room to sleep at night. By looking at his social media, you can see how big he is. Good things keep happening to him after working hard for them. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.